let's turn from there to the other big conflict. We've discussed Harvard versus Trump. We've discussed the political war of words. Let's now turn to a conflict that is getting more and more difficult to handle by the day because of the humanitarian crisis. As Israel's offensive on Gaza continues, the humanitarian situation is worsening. According to Gaza's health ministry, 60 people have been killed and 185 injured just in the last 24 hours. The ministry also says that 29 children and elderly people have died from starvation-related causes in just 2 days. In fact, thousands more are at risk due to severe food shortages. Earlier, 15 World Food Programme and 8 trucks were looted last night in southern Gaza while delivering food to bakeries. It's not just food. Gaza's health system is also on the brink. The World Health Organization says 94% of hospitals damaged or destroyed. Only 19 of 36 hospitals still working. Gazans, according to the UN Secretary General, are going through the cruelest phase of this cruel conflict. According to a Gaza ministry, 53,800 people have been killed, over 1 lakh injured, many of them children. In fact, it's the starvation of children that's possibly the worst aspect of this growing humanitarian crisis. Some of that aid is finally reaching Gaza, though. But what is the situation on the ground? How bad is it? I'm joined now by a special guest. Francesca Albanese is UN Special Rapporteur for Human Rights in Palestine. Appreciate your joining us, ma'am. In your reports, you've stated there are reasonable grounds to believe Israel's actions in Gaza may constitute genocide. You've cited violations of the UN Genocide Convention. Give us a sense of the humanitarian crisis brewing in Gaza.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me. Let me explain to the people in India who will be listening to me, to my voice, probably for the first time, why I believe that Israel has been committing acts of genocide for 20 months now. Because what constitutes genocide is in the Genocide Convention, and there are certain crimes like acts of killing, creations of conditions of life calculated to destroy, or the infliction of severe bodily or mental harm, which are already illegal conducts themselves. These conducts constitute genocide when committed with intent to destroy a group, as a whole, or in part, as such. And the Palestinians have been targeted as such. This is how 60,000 people have been literally slaughtered. Doesn't matter if they were children, doctors, or journalists. Everyone has been killed, the 70%. So let's start unpacking your question. Since the beginning of this assault on Gaza, which has been presented as genocidal from the beginning, because Israeli leaders spoke of people in Gaza as there are no innocents, not even children. They are human animals. They ordered the closing of provisions of water, electricity, food, fuel and medicines as they started carpet bombing the Gaza Strip. And so this is already illegal. There is the International Court of Justice already 20 years ago told Israel that it cannot wage wars against the Palestinians in the occupied Palestinian territory. Even when there are security threats, and October 7 was awful for the Israelis, for sure. But the point is that Israel occupies illegally the Gaza Strip, the West Bank, and East Jerusalem. And in Gaza, the humanitarian situation now is catastrophic because after 20 months of carpet bombing without, with the exception of not even 2 months of ceasefire, where fire has still been used against the people of Gaza, 80% of the civilian infrastructure is gone. There are no more buildings for the people of Gaza, because whatever has not been leveled to the ground has been severely damaged and is not usable. All universities have been destroyed. The health system has been decimated, and people are starving. This is the reality right now. Since the March 2025, people are literally starving in Gaza.
Can I ask you then, what is the solution? Where is the solution? The problem, as you say, is getting worse by the day. Well, is there a solution you see, ma'am?
I said it. It's about respecting international law, which is something that I rarely hear politicians talking about. You know what? It's interesting. This is the era of human rights and international law. We have been spending 80 years cementing the foundations of an international system regulated by rules, and these rules are being completely leveled to the ground, are turned into rubble as we speak. And there are people who are complaining and are revolting, they are protesting against that, and they are also repressed. So my hope is, I have two hopes. One is that the people from all over will continue to protest and put pressure on their government to change their politics toward Israel-Palestine. The second is to finally see a principled leader emerging, because I'm sure these leaders are there. Like like there was in the anti-apartheid South Africa, Nelson Mandela, and so many others. We need a new Nelson Mandela, and can be anywhere, can be in India, can be in Europe, there can be many, but this is what we need. Someone who understands that the only way out and the only way to grant peace and security to both Israelis and Palestinians is stopping waging wars. You build peace with peace. So end the genocide today and end arming the genocide, and the occupation by the end of September, because this is what the International Court of Justice and the General Assembly have said. And meanwhile, states and businesses should not trade with illegal occupation, and then end apartheid. This is what's to be done.
The world needs, Francesca, another Nelson Mandela, wherever he or she comes from. We need peace above all else. We need the hostages released, and we need peace in Gaza. We'll wait and see, Francesca, whether that happens, but I appreciate you joining us and giving us a sense of just how bad the situation is in Gaza.